reproductive health, right. So, last chapter, is it clear, the human reproduction? Any doubts about that? Clear, right. See guys, in the first section of this chapter, we will learn the definition and the programs introduced by governments to reduce or we can say increase the health of reproductive aspects. Now, the first one, what is the definition of the reproductive health? Let's see. According to World Health Organization, reproductive health means a total well-being in all aspects of reproduction, that is physical, emotional, social and behavioral. So, a person is said to be reproductive health if he is physically, emotionally, socially and behaviorally proper, correct? You see here, India was amongst first countries in the world to initiate the plans to attain reproductive health, such as the program name was Family Planning Program, which was introduced in 1951, right. So, these are the tasks performed by the Family Planning Program, which is now known as the Reproductive and Child Health Care Programs. So, these are things you see guys, what they did you see. So, let us say let us start from somewhere here. First one is benefits of small families, correct. So, which will reduce the population, correct. Second, educating people about the birth control options like condoms, different types of contraceptives, correct. Next, importance of equal opportunities for male and female child. Next, awareness regarding social evils such as sex abuse and sex related crimes. Everybody should know about these things. And then helping adolescents by providing information about reproductive organs, hygienic sexual practices and sexually transmitted infections. It is not just about giving equal opportunities, but everybody should know about the reproductive systems, their functioning and the associated diseases, correct. Next, they also focused on importance of the breastfeeding, In the last class we discussed that, remember, to bring up a healthy child, the mother should breastfeed the child at least for 6 months, correct. What happened here? Okay. Then, creating awareness about the care of pregnant mothers, postnatal care of the mother as well as the child, how to take care of the pregnant mother, how to take care of after the pregnancy of both mother as well as the child. Next, discouraging children from believing in myths and having misconceptions about the sex related aspects. So, people have different opinions on different kinds of health disorders. So, there are many myths and misconceptions which have to be avoided. Then role of non-governmental organizations, the audiovisual and print media in creating awareness regarding sex related aspects. So, NGOs, print media, audiovisual programs, everything can be used to create awareness about the reproductive health. Then the last one here is very important, benefits of massive child immunization, also called as vaccination, which is very important to prevent many pathogen borne infections. Are we clear about this point, right? Next you see, by doing this, we also, while increasing the reproductive health and other health aspects of the people, it also contributed in increasing the population. For example, you see here, according to 2011 census, our population growth rate was less than 2%, that is 20 births per 1,000 people per year. And if you look at this table here, in 1900s, the world population was around 2 billion. Now, in Indian population at the same time, you can say around the time of independence is about 350 million. In 2000, the world population rocketed to 6 billion and Indian population almost increased 3 times, that is about 1 billion. In 2011, the world population was 7.2 billion, now Indian population is 1.2. What is the current Indian population? What is Indian population now? How much is it? I think it is around 1.45 billion. We just surpassed China, correct? Anyway, that is one thing. These are very important, guys, these points. The reasons for increase in the population size. The first one is decrease in the death rate because of improved medical technologies, availability of the doctors and the treatments. Second, rapid decline in the maternal mortality rate. What is meant by the word maternal mortality rate? The death of mothers after giving birth. Okay. Third one, decrease in infant mortality rate. Decrease in the death of the infants because of vaccination, because of the proper care, reduce the deaths. The fourth point, increase in the number of people of reproductive age. The young population is increasing because of the decrease in the infant mortality rate, and also increase in the health facilities like hospitals, clinics, labs, everything has increased. So, these are the 5 most common reasons that has helped to increase the population of the India as well as the world. Next, at the same time, government has to take some measures to control the population. What are those, you see, guys? So, government has to, it did motivate smaller families by using various contraceptive methods with slogans like Hum do, Hamare do. What does it mean by we too, ours too? Next, urban couples adopting nowadays only one child, right? They think one child is enough to bring them up, to give them proper education and everything. Next, statutory raising of marriageable age, that is for females it is 18 years and for a male it is 21 years, and also giving incentives to couples with small families. Larger families means is a burden to the government. If you have smaller families, it's better. Understood? Right? And then coming to what are the various types of contraceptives? Any contraceptive. What does it mean by contraceptive actually? What is a contraceptive? A birth control method or a device or a tablet is called as a contraceptive. Don't ask me what is meant by birth control method. Okay? So, these are the 6 features of an ideal contraceptive. The first one is it should be user friendly, easy to be used. Second, easily available. Third one, it should be effective in preventing the pregnancy. Next, reversible. What is meant by the word reversible here? Sorry? Remove it? No. What is reversible? It means, let's say a woman is using a tablet to prevent the birth. As long as she uses the method, she will not be able to produce a child. But once she stop using it, she will be able to become pregnant. That is called as the reversibility. Okay. Next, there shouldn't be any or maybe least side effects. And the last one is it should not interfere with the normal act of coitus or should not interfere with the sexual desire, which is called as the libido. Clear? Very important, guys. You have to remember, user friendly, easily available, effective, reversible, no side effects, and should not interfere with the libido or the act of coitus. Now, there are 2 types of methods, 2 principal types of methods. One is called as the natural methods, the other one is called as the artificial methods. Natural methods means they have only one principle. What is that? They avoid the physical contact between the egg and the sperms. Here, the natural methods do not use any drugs, any devices. It is, or let us say there are 3 types, sorry. What is one? First one is called as the periodic abstinence, second one is the coitus interruptus or the withdrawal method, and third one is the lactational amenorrhea. Let us take the first one here, the mode of action of the periodic abstinence. So, we learn the menstrual cycle, right? So, what is the time of the menstrual cycle? 28 or 29 days, right? And what is the day of ovulation? 14th day, right? So, that means couple should abstain or prevent from coitus from the day 10 to day 17 of the menstrual cycle, which is called as the fertile period. Menstrual cycle varies from month to month. Okay, sometimes it is 28 days, sometimes it is 30 days, sometimes it may be 26 days. To avoid the fertilization or the meeting of the egg and the sperm, the couple should not participate in the sexual intercourse from the day 10 to day 17 of the menstrual cycle, which is called as a fertile period, because that is when the ovulation can be expected. Whereas, day 1 to day 9 and day 18 to 28 is called as a, what is it called as? Safe period. Is called as a safe period, because that is the time, even ovulation occurs between these times. So, an egg survival time is only like 1 to 2 days. So, if there is no fertilization, egg will be degenerated. Understood? So, day 10 to day 17 is the fertile period, whereas day 1 to 9 and 18 to 28 is called as a safe period. Second, withdrawal method or the coitus interruptus. What does it mean by that one? Here, the insemination is avoided. When there is no insemination, there is no chance of sperm meeting the egg. So, simple method here, the male partner has to withdraw his penis from the vagina just before the ejaculation. Means the semen will not enter the reproductive tract of the female, means there is no sperm going towards the fallopian tubes. So, this is called as the withdrawal method or the coitus interruptus. And third one is lactational amenorrhea. Amenorrhea means absence of menstrual cycle. Absence of menstrual cycle during intense lactation is called as a lactational amenorrhea, which means when a mother is feeding the child immediately after parturition, she may not be menstruating for next few months. So, during this time, the levels of progesterone will be so high, it will prevent the endometrium from reforming, right. So, during this time, you see what happens, absence of menstruation of up to 6 months during the period of intense lactation following parturition, means after the birth, the mother, not all the mothers, the mother may not go through the menstrual cycle for the next 6 months because of the hormone progesterone. That is called as the lactational amenorrhea. But remember, it is only effective up to how many months, guys? 6 months. Then, the artificial methods. Natural methods are not using any chemicals, any drugs or any devices, whereas the artificial methods uses different kinds of devices as well as the hormones. There are how many types? 7 types. Barrier methods, spermicidal jellies, intrauterine devices, oral pills, injections and implants, emergency contraceptives and surgical methods. The first one, the barrier methods here. So, their mode of action has the same principle as the natural methods. They prevent the meeting of the egg with the sperm, and you see they are self-inserted and offer privacy to the user. Let us take this one, condoms and their types. Condoms are made up of rubber or the thin latex. In males, the condoms cover the penis. In females, it covers the vagina and the cervix. And in males, the condoms prevent the user from contracting STIs. So, generally STIs occur when the body fluids mix. So, here the male semen is collected in the condom, that means there is no mixing. There is no mixing means there is no transfer of the pathogen from the male to the female. Next, in females, do they provide protection from the STIs? Yes. Condoms have the benefit of not just preventing the pregnancy, but also they protect the user from contracting STIs. Then, the most common male condom released by the government is called as the Nirodh. Then, in females, the different types of devices or the barrier methods, they are called the diaphragms, cervical caps and valves. Remember, condoms are disposable, whereas diaphragms, cervical valves and cervical caps and valves are reusable. They are reusable, where these barriers, they cover the cervix during coitus. Cervix is a narrow cavity. If that cavity or the canal is covered by these devices, the sperm will never enter the fallopian tubes. But the problem with these diaphragms, cervical caps and the valves is that they do not prevent from STIs, because there will be mixing of the body fluids. Remember, they are used only by females. And to increase the effectiveness of the barriers, the users are suggested to use certain creams, you see guys, they call it the spermicidal jellies, foams and creams. So, these are the preparations which contain the chemicals that kill the sperms. In order to double the effectiveness of the barriers, they can use the jellies, creams and foams. What is the function, guys? They are used along with the barriers to increase their efficiency. Am I clear about this point? Right? And next you see the IUDs. Intrauterine contraceptive devices are simply called as intrauterine devices or IUDs. Condoms, cervical caps, diaphragms, valves are self-inserted, whereas IUDs must be inserted by doctors or the expert nurses in the uterus. IUDs are one of the most widely accepted method of contraception in India. See, and there are, let us say, two types. One is non-medicated, other one is a medicated. Non-medicated IUDs, example, Lippis loop. It does not have any chemicals. Whereas the medicated, we have two types. Some of them are called as the copper releasing IUDs or the copper coated IUDs, and second one is a hormone releasing IUDs. The examples for copper releasing IUDs, what are those guys? One is a Cu7, other one is a multi-load 375. Hormone releasing IUDs, Progestisert and LNG20. How do they act, you see guys? The hormone releasing IUDs, they make the uterus unsuitable for implantation. Means they prevent the endometrium from dividing and helps in preventing the implantation. And they can also make the cervix hostile to the sperms. Means as the sperms travel to the cervix, the sperms will be killed or they will be trapped in the mucus produced by the cervix. Next, copper releasing IUDs, they increase the phagocytosis of the sperms within the uterus. So, usually the uterus contains lots and lots of macrophages which will kill the sperms, but because of the copper, more and more macrophages, they will kill the sperms. And then the copper ions released here, they will suppress the movement of the sperms and also their ability to fertilize the egg. Am I clear about this one? So, these are the mode of actions of the hormone releasing IUDs and the copper releasing IUDs. Two types of IUDs, non-medicated and medicated. Clear about this one, right? And next, the pills or the oral contraceptive pills or the tablets. Now, there are two types. Some of them are non-steroidal, other ones are the steroidal. Generally, progesterone, estrogen hormones are chemically, they are steroids, means they are derived from the, wake her up. What happened to you? What were you doing last night? Huh? Very good. Okay. Steroidal and non-steroidal. Like I was saying, progesterone, estrogen are derived from cholesterol. That's what I call as the steroidal hormones. And we have two types. One is non-steroidal, a drug, a pill which is called as the Saheli. Which institute developed Saheli, guys? Which Indian institute? Yes, developed by CDRI Lucknow, that is Central Drug Research Institute located in Lucknow, developed a non-steroidal contraceptive pill for women which is called as the Saheli. Its function is to prevent implantation and it is a once a week pill. Means as long as the woman wants to prevent pregnancy, she can use the pill once in a week. And it has a high contraceptive value with very few side effects. Okay? So, the action, remember here, it prevents implantation. Then the steroidal pills, there are two types. One type of pill contain only one hormone. What is that? Progestogen. The other type of contraceptive pill contains two hormones combinations. One is a progestogen, other one is a estrogen. How do they act? You see, they inhibit, first of all, ovulation. No ovulation means no egg, correct? And they inhibit implantation. Also, they alter the quality of the cervical mucus to retard the entry of the sperm. Three ways they act. They inhibit ovulation, they inhibit implantation, they increase the viscosity of the cervical mucus, which will trap the entered sperms. So, they can never reach the secondary oocyte in the fallopian tubes. And then how are they taken? They are generally called as the daily pills. Means the pills have to be taken daily for a period of how many days, guys? 21 days, starting preferably within the first 5 days of menstrual cycle. And with a gap of 1 week, they can start it again, because that 1 week will give the time for the endometrium to, I would say, shed and regenerate. There is a gap of 1 week. And they are also very effective with very less side effects and well accepted by females. Are we clear? Two types of oral contraceptive pills, steroidal and non-steroidal. Steroidal example, combination containing progestogens, and the second one is progestogen and estrogen. Non-steroidal example, Saheli. Saheli is once in a week pill, whereas steroidal preparations are daily pills. Are we clear? Right. Next one, implants and injectables. So, implants are, what do you say, they are like small sized plastic sticks, like with the size of a matchstick, which are placed under the skin, and their effective periods are much longer. They can give contraceptive effect for more than 1 year also, right? You see, the combination of the implants are same as steroidal pills. Either they contain progestogen and the combination with the estrogen. That means progestogen and estrogen combinations. They have same mode of action as steroidal pills. What is that? They inhibit ovulation and implantation. They alter the quality of the cervical mucus to prevent the entry of the sperms. Means any contraceptive that use the progestogen and the progestogen estrogen combinations, they have the same mode of action. Clear? Next, injections usually share similar mode of action and composition as the implants. They just are used as the injections, that is it. Then there is something called as emergency contraceptives. Now, types same, progestogen alone or progestogen estrogen combinations, which are used along with the IUDs, and they are effective only when used within 72 hours of coitus, or they can be used to prevent conception resulting from rape or unprotected sexual intercourse or the failure of other contraceptives. So, these are the three reasons which will help us to use the emergency contraceptives. What are those, guys? One is if there is a to prevent conception resulting from rape or unprotected intercourse or failure of the contraceptives. Clear? Right? And then, so this is about the contraceptives, except the last one here, which is the terminal method. Terminal method means once you undergo this surgery, there is no going back, because there is no reversibility. All these that we have discussed so far, they have a very good reversibility effects, but not this one, because here you are disturbing the anatomy or the pathway of the gametes, correct? So, this is, as you see here, it has very poor reversibility, but very highly effective. There are two types. The main principle of this method is to block the gamete transport. Like, for example, in males, the method or the surgical method is called as a vasectomy. What it is done, guys? In males, okay, they cut and tie the vas deferens. What is the vas deferens? A duct that emerges from the epididymis and join with the ducts of seminal vesicles to form the ejaculatory ducts. So, if that vas deferens is cut and tied, the sperms will never reach the urethra. As you can see here, it is done through a small incision on the scrotum. In females, it is called as the tubectomy, where they cut and tie the fallopian tubes. So, even the sperm enters, it can never reach the egg, because the transport of the sperms is blocked by cutting the fallopian tubes. As you can see, it can be done an incision through the abdomen or through the vagina. One is tubectomy, other one is a vasectomy. Any doubts about this one? Right. And coming to an unrelated topic here, which is called as medical termination of pregnancy, also called as induced abortion or the MTP. So, what is the definition of MTP? Intentional or voluntary termination of pregnancy before its full term is called as the MTP, which was legalized in India in 1971. So, when an MTP can be performed? What are the reasons to perform the MTP? See here. When there was an unwanted pregnancy due to rape, failure of contraception or casual unprotected sexual intercourse. So, these are the reasons the MTP can be performed. Other reasons also there, and also second reason is if continuation of pregnancy can be fatal to the mother, the fetus, or even the both. I mean, if the mother is not ready to give birth, then we need permission to perform the MTP depending on the age of the fetus. Permission of how many medical practitioners is needed for MTP depending on the duration of the gestation. Let us say if the pregnant, or let us say if the pregnancy is about less than 12 weeks or less than 3 months, then we need the opinion of one doctor. You can call them as a registered medical practitioner. If it is more than 12 weeks or less than 24, that means more than 3 months or less than 6 months, then you need the opinion of 2 doctors. This is very important, guys. And you see, and again the MTP Act was amended, or you can say edited, in 2017 by Government of India. According to this, you see, guys, the main reason for MTP is to reduce the incidence of illegal abortion done by unprofessional doctors, because sometimes a woman might go to some a local RMP somewhere, and it might risk the life of the woman, right? And second, to decrease the consequent maternal mortality and morbidity. And third one, MTPs are generally safe up to 12 weeks, but riskier in the second trimester, as both of them are legal if done following a through proper procedure. Next, amniocentesis and MTPs have been misused in context of female feticide. So, previously they used to perform illegal abortions if they found out that the fetus is going to be a girl child. So, after the birth they used to kill the girl childs because of what is this called as feticide. And what is meant by the word amniocentesis? What is amniocentesis? Amniocentesis is a method through which the amniotic fluid from the uterus is collected to find if the fetus is going to suffer from any genetic disorders or the metabolic disorders. At the same time, we can also find the sex of the fetus. Remember, amniocentesis through which we can only detect the genetic and metabolic disorders, but not the anatomical disorders. Understood the point here, right? Right. And next one here is mentioned here. Analysis of fetal cells and dissolved substances from the amniotic fluid is called as the amniocentesis. Technique used to check genetic disorders such as Down syndrome, hemophilia and sickle cell anemia. and there is a statutory ban on this technique in India to prevent the female fetuses. I mean, we can perform the amniocentesis to find if the fetus is going to suffer from any genetic disorders, but not to find the sex of the fetus. Am I clear here? Right? Then, two more topics here. One is the STDs, the sexually transmitted infections, the venereal infections or reproductive tract infections. They have different names here. The most common vulnerable or the risky group of this disease are age 15 to 24. The mode of transmission is usually sexual intercourse. So, these are the some diseases mentioned in the textbook. The bacterial diseases include gonorrhea, syphilis and chlamydiasis. The protozoan infection is a trichomoniasis, the viral infection genital herpes, hepatitis B, genital warts and AIDS. Can you tell me which of these diseases are not treatable or curable? AIDS, hepatitis and genital herpes, whereas the remaining can be treated if diagnosed earlier, correct? Let's see. It's mentioned here, bacterial and protozoan infections are completely curable if detected early and treated properly. And the other mode of transmission for hepatitis B virus and HIV infections include not just sexual intercourse, but also through the sharing of injection needles, surgical instruments with infected persons, transfusion of the blood and from infected mother to the fetus. Remember, AIDS, hepatitis is not just transmitted through sexual intercourse, but also through the from infected mother to the fetus, blood transfusion and sharing of the infected needles, contaminated needles. Are we clear there? Right. See, the symptoms and the complications. If detected early, the symptoms are minor, including itching, fluid discharge, slight pain, swellings in the genital region, and it can be cured easily. But if delayed, it leads to severe complications such as the pelvic inflammatory diseases. Means it is going to affect the linings of the body cavity in the pelvic region. It causes abortions, it causes stillbirths, means the birth of the dead fetus, ectopic pregnancies. What is ectopic pregnancy? What is it? So, generally the implantation takes place in the uterus, the fundus of the uterus, but very rarely the implantation might occur in the fallopian tubes, in the ovaries, in the cervical region or in the abdominal cavity. So, that implanted fetus or the embryo will not survive, and sometimes you can say that this the implanted fetus not in the uterus will affect the health of the mother, and sometimes it may lead to the death also. Okay? So, ectopic pregnancy is one of the causes of the STIs. It causes infertility, means unable to become pregnant, cancer of reproductive tracts. I mean, these are the complications of the diseases if they are not treated on, or you can say earlier. Are we clear there? Right. Now, how can we prevent these? The first one, avoid sex with unknown partners or the multiple partners. Second, always use condoms during coitus, and if in doubt, you have to consult a doctor. That is the 3 important measures to prevent the STIs. Are we clear there? Right. Now, the last topic here is infertility. So, who is called as an infertile couple? You see, guys, the couple who is unable to produce children in spite of 2 years of unprotected sexual cohabitation, means they are living together, they are married together, even though for 2 years they have been trying to have kids, but still no, but in vain, which means the couple, one of them or both of them are infertile. The reasons for infertility could be many, that is physical reasons, anatomical problems, diseases, psychological problems, congenital means inherited disorders, immunological, your immune system may be not cooperating with the formation of the gametes, and infertility as a problem could be either with the male or with female partner. In India, female is blamed often than male for the couple being childless. Now, it is changing because more and more people are being educated, so they know what is a problem. So, if one couple is not having kids for 2 years, means both have to go for a checkup, means the problem could be with the man or could be with the woman or could be both. Are we clear there? Right? And next. So, we have many methods that can help the infertile couple to have children. The two major methods, guys. One is called as the in vitro fertilization, other one is called as the in vivo fertilization. See guys, there are couples, let us say a woman, she can produce the ova, but she does not have a healthy uterus. One woman may have a healthy uterus, but she can't produce the ova. A man can produce the sperms, but he cannot inseminate. So, this and a man who cannot produce the sperms at all. So, many problems are there. So, to solve all these problems, we can choose any one of these in vitro or the in vivo fertilizations. Let us take the first one here, in vitro fertilization. In vitro means, it literally means in a glass. In vitro means in glass, means in the laboratory. If the fertilization of the male and female gametes takes place in the laboratory, it is called as a in vitro, which means the fertilization takes place outside the body in simulated conditions in the laboratory. Means the lab conditions are same as a female fallopian tube. So, the male and female gametes can fuse together to form the zygote. In this case, can the female produce the ova? Yes. That is how the fertilization is possible. The methods include ZIFT, IUT and ICSI. What does ZIFT means? Zygote intra-fallopian transfer. IUT means intrauterine transfer. When ZIFT, how ZIFT is done? When the embryo is less than 8 blastomeres, that embryo is introduced into the fallopian tube of the woman who is able to produce the ova. And IUT is when the number of blastomeres in the embryo is more than 8 blastomeres. What is ICSI? Intracytoplasmic sperm injection. This is one of, there are two ways to fertilize the egg. One, you incubate the egg along with the sperms. Because of natural ability, the sperm will fertilize the egg. But if the sperm is unable to fertilize the egg, you can pick one sperm with the help of a needle and directly inject the sperm into the cytoplasm of the egg. Means it is induced fertilization, which is called as the ICSI, intracytoplasmic sperm injection. Next, see here is mentioned. If it is, embryo transfer has two methods, ZIFT and IUT. Means you are transferring the embryo from the lab into the reproductive tract of the woman. If it is ZIFT, it is up to 8 blastomeres into the fallopian tubes. If it is IUT, it is more than, you remember the guys thing here. ZIFT is up to 8 blastomeres, means generally within 4 days the zygote transforms into 8 blastomeres, which happens in the fallopian tube. That is why we are introducing the embryo up to 8 blastomeres in the fallopian tube. If it is more than 8 blastomeres, it will be 16 or 32. That structure is called the blastocyst. It has to be introduced into the uterus where the implantation takes place. So, ZIFT and IUT. Next, coming to here, in vivo fertilization. In vivo means in the living organism. The fertilization takes place inside the living organism. So, what is this? No here? Okay. So, can female produce the ova? No. In that case, we collect the ovum from a donor, introduce this ovum into the fallopian tube of the woman who wants to become pregnant. So, how it is done, you see guys. One is called as the gift. What is gift here? Gamete intra-fallopian transfer. The woman is not able to produce the ova. In this particular case, we collect the ova from the woman, a donor, and introduce this into the fallopian tube. That is called as a gift. And after that, the man can inseminate the woman and the fertilization will take place inside the living organism. And second one is AI. What is AI? Artificial insemination. So, here what is done? The semen or the sperm of the male is introduced artificially into the female reproductive tract because the man is not able to inseminate. Okay? So, a man can suffer from two things, impotency and infertile. Impotency is when he is unable to inseminate. Infertile means he may not be able to produce a sperm at all. Okay? So, what is IUI means? IUI, intrauterine insemination. So, artificial insemination can be achieved by intrauterine, here the sperms are not introduced into the vagina, instead they are introduced directly into the uterus. So, they can reach the fallopian tubes, you see here. In artificial insemination, semen is introduced either into the vagina or the uterus when the person is suffering from low sperm count or inability of the male to inseminate the female. Low sperm counts, unable to inseminate the woman. In that case, the man is suggested to go with the artificial insemination. Whereas, when the semen is introduced into the uterus, that method is called as the IUI or intrauterine insemination. And the last one is gift, gamete intra-fallopian transfer, where the female can provide conditions for the fertilization and further development, but she cannot produce the ova. So, gift is suggested to those women, they cannot produce the ova, right? But they can have the proper environment for the fertilization. Whereas, ZIFT is suggested to those women who can produce the ova, but not the proper conditions for the development of the fetus. Understood? In vitro and in vivo. So, that in vitro fertilization is what we call it as a test tube baby, because the baby's embryo was developed in the laboratory in a test tube. That is what is called as a test tube baby program, which is nothing but, what is guess here? The embryo transfer. Are we clear here, everybody? So, that is the chapter reproductive health. Now, solve the questions of this chapter completely. Have you solved the questions of human reproduction? All done? Every question, boys? Have you finished solving the questions of human reproduction? Why not? Huh? Do both the chapters now. We have 30 minutes time. Both the chapters should be completed now. Start doing it.